everybody, welcome back for another video. Just got back from the range and I thought it would be a good time to talk about what you need to do before you go to the range and why it's important to have a plan. We don't just go there for fun. It can be fun, it can be relaxing, but you got to have a game plan and you got to have a strategy on what you're trying to accomplish. And every time I go to the range, I usually have a very specific single objective that I'm trying to improve. And it takes time. You have to pack your hearing protection. You have to pack some glasses. You got to have your ammo, and your range bag needs to be packed. And sometimes if you live, depending on where you live, you may have to drive a little way, or you may have to deal with traffic. So it's not the same as our air guns, and we can train at home, but the stakes are so much higher that you've got to get there. And one of the things that I found that works really well for me as a shooter in a very loud indoor range is to use earplugs first and then layer the hearing protection on top of that. It makes a tremendous difference. Just the hearing protection alone in a very loud, very loud indoor range, for me, is just still not enough. But I did this today, and I used these on top of this, and it was just so much better. It was really like being able to concentrate, being able to handle the weapon in a way that felt almost like you were just handling a mechanical device. You weren't being bombarded with all of the noise. And it allows you to focus on the fundamentals. It allows you to focus on the trigger pull and the grip and do those kind of things that I think are very important for just accomplishing your goals of improving your accuracy. And everybody can improve. And if I take a period of time off and I'm just not getting into the range and I'm dry firing, I do find that dry fire definitely helps a lot. I'm one of the guys that's always promoting dry fire. And you hear me not only talking about using snap caps, but I also use a air-powered Humerex replica of my Glock 17, and I find that helps a lot, although the trigger pulls are quite a bit different. But if you're doing any of this, if you're dry firing regularly and you're going to the range regularly, you're ahead of 95% of everybody out there, because most people just don't want to put in that time. They don't want to train. They think that they're good to go. You know, they don't really. They think they've bought that weapon and now they're good. And if the time comes that they need to use it, they'll be able to use it. And I think anybody who suffers from that, it's a mental effect that. I'm not even going to try to say the name, but you'll see it below. It's a phenomenon where people overestimate their ability, and they think that they are better than they really are. And they think that by watching others who are well trained, who can do a really good job putting hits on target, or watching lots of videos, is going to now make them trained. And it's a mistaken philosophy that you're more capable than you really are. And that's something that we have to constantly pat down, because even we may go and have a very good training session at the range. We may have done really well on a given day, but you could do it again a few weeks later and you find that you didn't do as well. And we're not competition shooters, so we're not trying for pinpoint accuracy, but we do want our skills to be good enough that we can put it on target when we want to. And if we want to take our time and get it on target, we can do that. Now, where I think a lot of the training comes into play is follow-up shots and being able to hit different targets. And so there's just so many different things that we need to train, as opposed to just standing there and one after the other, just doing one shot at a time. Like at the beginning, you see, I'm not going to rapid fire, even though our range seems to be more flexible on that now. I try to be a steady, thinking about the fundamentals, thinking about what I need to do to improve my shooting, and I'm coming along as I would like. But there's just things that we have to consider before we go to the range. What am I weak in? What's my weakness? If I'm a new shooter Am I accurate at all? What does my pattern look like? Am I shooting low left? Am I anticipating recoil? Do I need to work on the trigger pull and my grip and make sure that I don't engage these three fingers here? When you grip the pistol, you want to make sure that you don't give it a squeeze right before you pull the trigger. You want to just be pulling the trigger, and you don't want to engage the nervous system to flinch and to grip like this. You don't want to anticipate recoil. There's other things that I'll talk about later that I've been exploring, and there's a lot of things that that have helped me, and some things that have been not very helpful. And so I've been sort of going through the learning curve of improving my shooting, and I'm the kind of guy that I will share that. I'm not a expert shooter. I've not been doing this for decades. I've been doing it for years. And also, this is not a Rambo channel. I'm not a veteran. I'm not trying to sell you on my expertise, but I am a very logical-minded person who knows how to train and who knows how to prepare. And I know how to be analytical about these are the steps that you can do to deal with this problem that you're having, or this problem that you're having. And I try to walk through those steps, and I'm gonna share as I go along. And this is a lot more difficult than the air gun shooting. The air guns have very minimal recoil, and you could say, well, that doesn't matter, but the recoil and getting back on target for follow-up shots does matter. And with a good grip, I can drive my Glock, and I can drive into those shots, and I can put those shots on target, and I can follow up, and I'm getting better at doing that kind of thing. And it just takes practice. So if you think that you don't need to practice, you're wrong. Everyone needs to get out there and do it. And it's just a matter of going through the motions and getting in the reps and getting enough ammo through your weapon. And do it with the weapon that you're going to carry, or the weapon that you're using for home defense. Don't do it for the one that's just for show. You don't need a very expensive handgun. You just need one that's reliable. And that's why I'm always, I'll never shy away from saying how much I respect Glocks and the minimalist design, and the fact that there's a minimal number of parts and they're reliable. And in my hands, I haven't had any issues, and I'm very happy with that model. I don't need bells and whistles. I don't need a hair trigger or a competition trigger. I just want something that's safe and reliable. And Glock has sort of found that middle ground. They're middle ground in terms of price. They're also middle ground in terms of the right amount of safety for everyday carry, as you would need in a duty type weapon, and a trigger that is about in the middle for what you would need for safety. But if you practice with it and you're comfortable with it, you can run it, and these things can become a fire breather if you really know what you're doing. So more on Glocks and more on training as we go along. I just wanted to let you know just how important it is to have a game plan and be analytical, and don't just wing it when you go to the range. It helps to have a strategy and something that you're trying to improve and accomplish. That's really what we need. We need to set goals for ourselves. And that's all I got to say about this one. Let me know what you do to prepare for going to the range. How do you do it? Do you run drills? Do you have any other types of things that you do that you want to share? I'd love to hear it. Everybody stay safe, and we'll see you next time.